Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. 1 Timothy 4:12. Paul writes to Timothy as Timothy is the pastor of a church and of course a man, and tells him that he is to be an example of believers. Now I want to explore that because we as men are supposed to be examples. We are supposed to be the role models, as I've said a few times. We are to teach those who are under our care. And that especially includes our sons. But I want to examine each thing that the Apostle Paul says to Timothy of what examples he is supposed to be. And he starts off with, be an example of speech. And the question is, how do we talk to others? Are we respectful? Do we have compassion? Are we calm? Do we give some grace? Or are we loud and obnoxious? Do we yell and scream at people when we don't get our way or things aren't going well? How is our speech? Pay attention to how you talk and how you respond to others, because we are to be an example of what it means to be a believer when it comes to our speech. And it teaches our children how we are to respond and talk to people. We are to be examples in our conduct. Now, how do we act? How do we conduct ourselves? Are we gentle? Do we stand our ground when we're needed, or do we back away? Are we considerate? Do we put others first? How we behave is extremely important because others watch us. And if we are in leadership, those under us will follow our lead. It's one of those, they will be what we are, not what we tell them to be. And usually that refers to children, but it refers to anyone who is your subordinate. We are to be examples of love. I talked about love before, but we have to give grace. We have to show compassion. We have to help others in a loving, caring way. We are to be examples of faith. Are we leading our families in the Lord? Are we reading our Bible? Are we taking time to pray? Are we showing others that we trust God in how we behave, how we live, in the words that we say? What kind of example are we when it comes down to faith? Is it something that is unimportant to us? Is it something that's very important to us? How we behave will show that. Are we at church when the doors are open? Are we making sure that we know what we're talking about when we talk about the things of God? Are we sharing Christ with others who don't know Him? We need to be the examples of that. And we need to be examples in purity. And first thing comes to mind is sexually, but it doesn't stop there. So that is just one aspect of purity. Are we not having sex before marriage? If we're in a marriage, are we exclusive to our wives? Are we turning away from the things that cause the lust to build up in us? Are we staying away from pornography? Are we staying away from ogling women? Are we showing people that, yes, I am pure in that area? But it's not just sexually, as I said. Are we pure in our motives? How we, or what is behind what we are doing? Are we doing things out of selfishness, or are we doing things for the benefit of others? Now, we have to examine ourselves and be honest. Where do we fall short? Because let's face it, men, especially when it comes to children, even if it's not our own, even if we're an example to our nephews or to the neighborhood kids or to the children of someone else who is close to us, are we showing those boys how to be men and what kind of men to be? Because they look to us to be men, especially if those boys do not have other men in their lives. If you are somebody who is helping out and you are a mentor to these children, and you are showing them what kind of men to be. And you're showing the young girls what kind of men are available and what kind of men to look for. It is very important that these girls are looking for decent men, but they have to have decent men when those girls are young to look up to and to say, that's the kind of man I want in my life. And I know it's a heavy responsibility, but the Bible calls us to be that. God desires us to be good examples. Now, we're not going to do it perfectly, of course, it's impossible. but we are to do it to the best of our ability through His Spirit and in His power, because we cannot do it alone. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.